Yo, what's poppin' everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be going over the top 10 best decks after San Antonio. So we had the largest regionals of all time, and that might lead the metagame to change a little bit. So whether or not you're playing in locals, you're planning on going to Portland, you're planning on going to Charlotte, or any other event in the world, this list will certainly help you figure out where the metagame's heading and get some access to some great lists. In this video, the lists are going to be available in the pinned comment below in the comments, so you can check that out, copy and paste those right into PTCG Live. And for the rest of the decks, if you just want to take pictures of the decks or whatever else like that, by all means, give this video a like, share, subscribe. Let me know what your best decks are in the comments. Which decks do you think are going to be number 1, number 2, whatever. Take your best guesses, and let's jump into that number 10 pick. Let's get it. So kicking things off and absolutely sliding into our number 10 spot is going to be Origin Form Palkia V-Star with Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. Now, Joseph Nawal played this to a top 4 finish at San Antonio. We've already seen this deck do well at other regionals, and now I'm kind of like, maybe it's the real deal. And that's something that we got to look into. The main strategy of this deck is that we're able to power up our Pokemon relatively quickly between Melanie and Star Portal. And then we have powerful attackers that we could figure out, depending on the matchup, whether we want to use Rad Ninja, Suicune, whatever. So we have options when it comes down to it. We have the Irida Cross Switcher combo. Honestly, I'm in a position where I see how this deck is cool. It's performed well. I can't necessarily put like why. It's like just powerful. If anyone has any ideas in the comments, I'd totally love to hear back from you and all that great stuff. And I mean, this deck's a little bit more, I mean, you could probably pick up the Origin Form Palkia Ice Rider theme deck. I think that's what it comes together. Or there's an Origin Form Palkia and an Ice Rider. Pick those up on PTCGL store, pick those up on Deco Gaming, pick those up on Atlas Collectibles. All of those links for discounts to help support the Shuffle Squad are in the description below to help support us during this time. I think this deck is powerful. I'm not sure how meta dependent it is, but it has seen some strong success. So if you're looking for something new to try out, or if you have some great ideas when it comes down to it, let me know in the comments below. Do you think this deck belongs to be here? We'll have to see. But its success is something that we cannot overlook at this point. Kicking into our number 9 list and breathing some hot fire is Lost Zone SableZard. Now, Lost Zone SableZard is the deck that won the Stuttgart Regional Championships with Christian Fontenot absolutely seeing success there. I believe they also made day 2 at San Antonio. And a lot of people have been playing this list, where we have a few other Lost Zone box decks in the format that I think could be added into this list, or in the top 10 list, that is, or that there's other Lost Zone box decks that are already on this list. Radiant Charizard typically has a better matchup against those than other decks in the format because of its pure it's more of a pure Lost Zone box deck. We're really there with the Cramorants. We're really there with the Sableyes. We really have those quick opportunities between Lost Vacuum earlier on in the game. Whereas, let's say a Lost Tina deck, for example, might struggle during those first few turns, and Path Roxanne and Counter Catcher carry it on in the late game. So something to consider is that this deck is just absolutely wicked fast at the beginning of the game and can really take a toll on your opponent by getting those quick Cram hits, those Sableye hits, and even like a mid-game Radzard. To me, this list is really powerful and can hold its own in the format. Kind of seems like a placeholder in the format, but we'll see how it continues to perform as we head into Portland Regionals. Max miracling its way into number 8 is going to be Fusion Mew. Now, I took Xander Perot's list, and I believe this list is pretty much the exact same. It might be off by a card or something like that. But they basically they're the Mew master of this format. And I feel like Fusion Mew has largely been the deck that they've experimented a lot with. Fusion Mew is powerful right now because Fusion Strike Energy shuts off Spiritomb. A lot of players are checking Spiritomb. Drapion's not as powerful against Mew because Mew is now playing Path to shut off Drapion. So this is, we have some immunity to Spiritomb, and a lot of lists are playing Spiritomb. We're also powerful enough that we can attack we can attack very quickly with Meloetta. We have opportunities to attack with Mew VMAX. Fusion Mew's been around for a while, and I think it's just like, it's default on this list right now, probably until it rotates. However, rotation's probably going to be happening in the next couple months. We'll probably cover that in a separate video as well. So if you're like, yo, what's rotation? Shuffle Squad will have you covered at some point. Right now, I think that this is just a standard, typical Mew list. We've seen a Celigore in and out of the deck. We've seen a few other decks a few other techs in and out of the deck. To me, this seems just like a relatively standard list that can do well at any given tournament. So give it a try if you want to try out Mew. I think the Mew Path version is a little bit more popular right now. Largely because Path, Path Judge, and Disruption cards are very popular. But Fusion Mew typically does better in that matchup as well, so it's more of a matchup standpoint when it comes between choosing between the two Mew decks. Swooping in with that quick search ability as another new deck in our top 10 is going to be Snorlax with Pidgeot EX. Now, this is a list that it was a combination between Hale Albernalte's, Liam Halliburton's, and a few of the other Snorlax Pidgeot decks that have had some quiet runs in day 2 before San Antonio. And with our very own Cal Connor making top 8 the highest out of them with just a normal Snorlax list, you might be like, yo, Zach, why am I showing the Pidgeot version? Well, even Cal himself thinks that this version is better when we're locking our opponent with the typical Snorlax, you can't do much, Mimikyu, you can't attack our Pokemon. We have energies that we can attack with, so not only can we search for those key cards that we want every single turn with Pidgeot EX, we have double turbo energy, which allows that we can attack with Blustery Wind, or our other attacks against techs like Minior, which have largely been the bane of existence to Snorlax. Well, this deck has an answer to the answer. So kind of as variants of illness get better and more immune, this deck is immune to Minior for the most part. And I think that, like, as control evolves, it becomes much more of a serious threat. So while this list might need a couple adjustments as we go forward to adjust for the Portland metagame, and I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how we adjust. We're going to have to watch a lot of the stream games, YouTube videos, because Late Night's taking a brief break over the holidays, so we can rest and recharge for next season. There's not anything else between now and Portland. It's pretty much going to be a holiday blur for a lot of us taking a break or having fun or whatever, or just working through it. So I think it's one of those things where this deck might actually pop off at Portland. If I was playing in that event, this would be one of the decks that I'd be highly considering, just because it's one of the more undiscovered archetypes that has a lot of potential to see success. Ranked number 7 because of newness, similar to how Ice Rider is ranked at number 10 due to newness. Swooping in to our number 6 pick is Mew VMAX with Path to the Peak. So I told you we'd have both Mews, right? Mew VMAX with Path to the Peak is a little bit more disruptive than our other Mew builds. And this is quite a standard build. I think I'm actually the same list as Andrew Hedrick. Or maybe I'm like one card off. The coolest thing that we got in this list is that it plays 1 Fusion Strike energy so that you can Cram-O-Matic for it, and you are now immune to Spiritomb on that Genesect. So Fusion Strike energy blocks the abilities from affecting the Genesect. Spiritomb is an ability. On top of us just having Path to the Peak in play, Judge Iono, the deck can be incredibly strong and well positioned. So this is something that I'd really urge people to try out. Mew is quite powerful in this format, and it seems like it's one of those top plays for a lot of top players. You might want to wonder why. This is where it's at. So to me, this is peak Mew. I know that there's quite a few of our Shuffle Squad members who have wrote about Mew and other decks on our Patreon. So I do want to do a quick plug for that. We do offer long form articles in the 1 to 4K kind of word length. So that's lengthy. And these are like real articles. So check out our Patreon, patreon.com/TSSWin. It's available in the description below. You can help support the Shuffle Squad there. I think it's like $10 a month. You get access to all of these deck lists early before these videos go up, on top of other deck lists that we just update. And our team goes in there, talks about decks and stuff. You ask questions, stuff, and you get access to all of our articles on Patreon. It's a good deal. So check it out. Mew's good. Let's see what's in our number 5 spot. Second and bracing its way into number 5 is Gardevoir EX. The best deck in format is starting to fall off a little bit, and I think it's because it was the best deck in format. So don't take this as a stab to Gardevoir. If you're a Gardevoir player, Gardevoir is still likely one of the best decks in format. And number 5 might be putting it a little bit too low, but I have some logic here. If you're the number 1 deck in formats, like Gardevoir was, you're going to start seeing counters to the best deck in format, such as Avery, such as Ability Lock, such as Type Advantage, such as, like, you can go on and on and on and on. Players are not targeting deck number 10. I'll put it like that. No one's playing a Metal Goldango Scizor deck to try to beat Ice Rider. And if you are, all the power to you, but you're probably focusing on the wrong deck. Gardevoir is sitting nestled at number 5 right now, which might make it a better play going forward to Portland or Charlotte, depending on how the metagame goes going forward. So that being said, Gardevoir is here chilling, where you're just accelerating all those energies to your various Pokemon, such as Gardevoir, Screamtail, Cresselia, Zacian, or maybe you're just going to be attacking into other things. When this deck has a tough matchup to Miraidon, arguably one of the most played decks in the format, it's going to be a tough time. Jake Gerhardt did play a 1-1 Deoxys V-Star line to try to counter that, so if that sees more success, we might see that in lists going forward, but we'll have to see how it plays out. I personally don't own those cards yet, so if I get a chance to pick them up, I will. Other than that, we'll have to see how the metagame shakes up. But Gardevoir is going to be chilling at number 5 right now. We'll see how it moves up as we progress through the metagame. Rapid striking its way into number 4 is going to be Rapid Strike Urshifu with Inteleon VMAX. Now, this deck has seen quite a bit of success lately. However, it didn't necessarily see as much success at San Antonio as it likely could have. There was a lot of top players that were on this deck. However, this deck does struggle sometimes against Miraidon. Typically, it's pretty favorable for this deck, but if Miraidon just snaps back and hits you for that turn 1 knockout, you're having a tough time. This deck loses to Snorlax. This deck loses to Roaring Moon. And this deck struggles against Mew VMAX as well. So I'm sure that there's a few of this deck where it's like, you hit Charizard, you're all scheming and all that. You hit Gardevoir, you're scheming. You hit Mew. And Mew's like a landmine in one of these tournaments where it's like, cool, I lost one of my games, sets me back down into the bracket, and then you can find yourself playing against a deck like Roaring Moon. I played this deck to San Antonio, and Roaring Moon's what knocked me out of contention. That's how it goes. It happens. And I've seen it happen to countless other players. However, this deck does have unparalleled matchups against the top decks in format, like Azul's winning Charizard. So we'll have to see how it plays out. This is the list that I've been really cooking with lately. And I think that this is, if there was a tournament tomorrow that I wanted to play this deck in, I might need to take a break from this deck for a minute. This is the list that I'd be playing. Electrifying its way into the number 3 spot is Miraidon EX. Now, kind of a new entry, kind of not really. This is a Turbo Miraidon EX build, which I think is a little bit more well-positioned in this format. If you're not necessarily crushing your opponent turn 1, you might not necessarily be doing too much with Miraidon. I know that with Rapid Strike, a slower Miraidon build is much easier to play against than the Turbo build. And I can only imagine that if you're turn 1 Iron Hansing a Gardevoir, a Chen Pao, even like a Charmander when your opponent's playing Charizard, then you're probably doing kind of okay. So this build's cool, heavily based off the one that my pal Anil played to a top 16 finish at LAIC. We've seen that Nick Robinson had the highest placing Miraidon build in top 8. That was also heavily inspired by that build as well. This is where my deck is at right now. I could change it up a little bit, but I do think that this build is more interesting right now than the other Miraidon build, especially considering where the metagame's at. So I would give it a try. If you're looking to win some cups, speed is absolutely, it's crazy good right now. Like, if I was playing in a League Cup tomorrow, you wouldn't catch me playing Rapid Strike. And maybe I'm saying that and I'm like, yeah, you want to know what, I continue to cope myself into playing Rapid Strike. I think I'd actually be looking more towards Roaring Moon and Turbo Miraidon to rip my opponent to shreds in best of 1, steal game 1, and while considering most League Cups are actually just best of 1, I'd win the set. Easy to go 3-0, 4-0, double ID, make top 8, and see how my run continues in top 8 and hope for some good matchups. So this is really where I'd be going for. And if you're looking to get any of these cards, or let's say if you're looking to pick up any gifts over the holidays, consider checking out our sponsors over at PTCGL store for PTCG live codes. Check out Atlas Collectibles, and check out Deco Gaming for all your sources on sealed English, international cards. Whatever you're looking for, we have discounts available in the description below. They make some great presents this time of the year for that teacher, friend, Pokemon coach, Pokemon players at your league, family members, whatever you're looking for, or pick up something for yourself because you deserve it. Gotta get those plugs in there. Really help support the Shuffle Squad. I cannot stress this enough. What do you think is going to be in our number 2 pick? We'll have to find out. Here we're at our number 2 pick, and lost impacting its way all the way to the top again is Tina V-Star. I feel like Epo, my friend Christian from Babytown, is like, Zach's the man, yo! Tina's up on the top! In all seriousness, I feel like Tina finds its way out of the trenches, finds itself well positioned, and I believe that this list is heavily based off of Alberto Conte's list, and this is very similar to what Grand Hayes has been playing. I realized as I was creating this list that I was experimenting with a list that had 2 Cramorants in it. I think that we should probably cut down to 1 Cramorant as I'm looking at this list again. I'm not entirely sure where I want that space to be, and I'm still trying to figure that out right now. However, I think that Tina is well positioned. You got that Lost Impact. You can knock out a lot of Pokemon for 280. Star Requiem is incredibly powerful. Now, I do want to throw it out there that I do kind of like the Roaring Moon build right now, because you kind of have the beats Charizard in the front, and Roaring Moon's good against Mew VMAX in the back. To me, that sounds kind of cool, but I'd probably go with a 2-2 Tina and a 2 Roaring Moon kind of line. And that's something that I'm probably going to cook over the holidays. See if it's something that I'd be like, yeah, you want to let's YOLO in Charlotte. Let's be real, I'm not going to YOLO in Charlotte. I need to get some points at these regionals, y'all. I need to stop going so far into the trenches to find these decks. No more Jolteon for Zach. But on the real, Tina's a very good pick. This deck can be an absolute brick fest, so do not expect this deck to set up every single game. However, these new turbo builds of Tina that are really focusing on cutting the Manaphy, cutting the Jirachi, these decks tend to work out quite well in setting up a little bit more often than not. With the unparalleled matchup spread, this might be the deck that you're looking for. You just got to learn how to play it a little bit correctly. And that being said, we're down to our number 1 deck. I think if you watched the whole list, and if you didn't cheat by looking down into the description, the pinned comment, seeing what the tags are on the video or anything else like that, it should be pretty obvious what the number 1 deck is. But if it's not, or if you just want to guess, or if you just want to help comment, boost the algorithm of this video, put your best comments in the comments below. Put your best guesses, I should say, in the comments below. Let's get it. Let's jump into our number 1 pick. Absolutely causing some havoc with that Burning Darkness attack at our number 1 spot is Charizard EX. I've been playing Charizard EX for a minute, and I don't want to be like, I told y'all this deck was the GOAT. And here we are. Azul just won San Antonio Regionals with it. This deck has been highly performing at regionals such as Gdansk and Poland. And here we are at the number 1 spot with the new kind of Rotom level ball build. This is an updated version from Azul's list because there's actually a few changes that I want to make here. I don't actually think that 7 energies is necessary in this deck. I think you need 8 energies. 7 energies is a little bit low. I could break that down to y'all or anything else like that. Same thing with having 2 counter catchers. I think that's really where the space is at. But when you're playing this deck, Justified Gloves has now kind of become a necessity. Just because of Dark-type Pokemon, such as other Charizard EX. I think Charizard was something like 24% of the decks in Day 2 of San Antonio. So that means 25, that means 1 in every single 4 players is playing Charizard EX. If you're not playing Charizard EX yourself, or if you don't have a good matchup to Charizard EX, you are absolutely getting whooped in Day 2. So what can I say about this? Counter Charizard EX. Play Charizard EX. Those are really the 2 things. If you're playing a deck that loses Charizard EX, now is a wrong time to be playing Pokemon. And that's not to say don't play Pokemon. If you don't beat them, join them. Find a deck that does at least mid against Charizard EX so you got a chance. But there's a reason why Tina is absolutely at number 2, because that's one of the only decks that beats Charizard EX in the top 10 list. This deck has answers for almost every single thing on the list, and of course, as your opponent takes prize cards, Burning Darkness becomes an even better attack. So Charizard has it all, being able to search for whatever it wants with Quick Search. Its attack gets better, it accelerates energies. We have a large supporter line. We have some really robust stadium choices. You got a lot going on here that's good. So if you're looking to get that first day 2 at Portland, Charizard might be it. And maybe we don't want to necessarily play Charizard for Portland either. Maybe we're going to see these Lost Zone box decks that play Tropius and super effective glasses. Maybe we're going to see players adding a Celigore back into their Mew VMAX decks. Like, we might see more counters to Charizard. If anything, it's something to think about. And we'll have more for that on the channel going forward. So I do want to put it out there. These are all these lists that we got. Hopefully you enjoy them. If you need any of the cards, pick them up from our sponsors in the description. If you need to copy and paste them, we do have the pinned comment in the comments that has access to all these lists. And we do have reference videos for almost all of these decks in the pinned comment, but also on our channel. So check it out from all the Shuffle Squad members. Let me close things out. And that's what we got going on for our video today. Do you agree with Charizard being #1? I think it's certainly the best deck right now, and I'm really excited to see how it does going forward. We're probably going to see some more grass type attackers trying to counter it. That might see some Lost Zone box decks adding Shaman V into the deck and stuff like that. Is that going to work? I guess we'll find out as the metagame progresses. Stay tuned for more great content from the Shuffle Squad, and if I don't see you before anything else, happy holidays. Enjoy everything going on this season, and I hope that we catch up real soon. Peace out and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. Hey trainers, tired of having too many cards lying around? I know that feeling, and I know what a hassle it is to try and sell those cards. But selling bulk is now easier than ever with TCG Bulk. Find tons of potential buyers in a single place. You just download the app, look for the best buyer near you, and carefully pack your bulk, ship it, and you get paid. It really is that simple. Turn the cards you don't want into the cards you absolutely need for your next deck. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.